What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I asked you guys if you wanted a Polestar update. We are finally getting some volume today, but we'll take a look at the volume later in the video. The market overall is giving us some mixed vibes, but I did show you guys some key points to watch in the indexes, so check that video out if you guys are interested. Today's video is going to be solely about Polestar, so I want to do a weekly update of what is the latest on Polestar. We'll take a look at the chart and tell you guys a few different factors to watch. If you guys are investing in Polestar, make sure to watch through the entire video so you don't miss that. Also comment down below your price targets for Polestar in 2022. Before we start, if you guys want to support these videos I make, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. So we did get a few updates this week. One of them is about the Polestar 4. Following a teaser earlier this year, Polestar has revealed new details about the upcoming 4 crossover. One thing I realized from the article, it's going to have a coupe-like styling, and I'll actually explain that in a little bit. So most of the details were revealed in an interview with Car Magazine. Our Polestar CEO Thomas said that the model is going to arrive in 2023 and will start competing with the Porsche Macan. So we kind of already had an idea that it would start coming out in 2023. The more interesting details that he added is that it's going to be slightly smaller than the 3 and adopt a more ground-hugging design with a coupe-type roofline. So this is just a rendering, but if you take a look, this is the Polestar 3 and the back end is more linear versus the Polestar 4 is going to have that round end, and I think that's why they're calling it a coupe type roofline. One of the more interesting details is he did give an estimate about pricing. The crossover is going to be significantly cheaper. If you know, the Polestar 3 is estimated to be $85,000, but the Polestar 4 is going to start around $62,000. And so I found a different article, and these are actual quotes from the CEO. We have a second SUV in our pipeline. It will compete below the Polestar's 375 Euro sector. It is slightly smaller. It will not compromise on the interior length, but the car is slightly more ground hugging, a bit more of like the coupe type roofline. And then he mentioned the price tag for the 4 is $62,000. So the Polestar 4 really brings the greatness of the brand to a segment that will eventually start around 55 euros, where we in some point in time want to reach with the Polestar 4. This is the price spectrum we will cover within 2 years. And then I just highlighted some additional notes below. Polestar 4 is likely to become the company's bestseller by mid-decade. So that's going to be around 2025, eventually outperforming Polestar's 2 sedan. So I might have already covered this, but the Polestar 3 is going to be produced in South Carolina. However, the Polestar 4 is going to enter production in China. They're going to be making it in Geely's Hangzhou Bay. I'm not sure how I say that right. So not exactly sure how I feel about that. I would love for them to stay making stuff in the US, but I guess producing stuff in China is much cheaper. So from a money wise, it makes sense. And I guess it could also give them exposure into the China market. But let me know your thoughts on that. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. The other thing I want to add is they do have a very aggressive timeline. They are projecting to start production in late 2022 for the Polestar 3. I honestly think this gets pushed back to 2023, maybe in the spring. I just don't think there's enough time. The expected release is next year, so that's almost 12 months. Don't really know how far along on production they are, but by the looks of the details they've given us, there's not enough information. So just my opinion, I still like the company, but even Rivian ended up pushing back some of their deliveries. So I think Polestar will probably end up doing the same, and I think that will probably shift everything about half a year. Overall, I think this is great news. They already have the Polestar 2 out in the market making sales for them. I think the main challenge for them is getting this first SUV out to the market. Then I think after that, they'll have the experience and framework that they need to produce these later models, all while having income revenue during the development of the Polestar 4. So just want to touch on the challenges. There was actually a Q&A with Christian Samson. He's the product attributes lead at Polestar. This was published yesterday or today. I'm not going to read the entire thing. You guys can look at it on your own. I'll leave the link below. But I just want to add that they asked him, what is the biggest challenge for Polestar now? And he said, awareness. We are so proud when media and an increasing number of enthusiast owners get it and understand our approach and our cars, but we are still so small and unknown. If you like cars and you like driving cars, we're likely to strike a chord if you get the chance to drive a Polestar. So that's basically the same thing we were preaching. There's still so many people that don't know about Polestar. For me, it feels like so many people already know about it, but I feel that's because we stay in sync with the up-to-dates. I think the broader market still hasn't really caught on to Polestar. So once more people get on board, this can definitely have that lucid potential. So guys, let's move over to the stock price. It is up more than 3% for the day. That is actually really good compared to the overall market. We'll take a look at the chart in just a second, but I want to share with you guys 2 different points to watch if you're investing in Polestar. First one's going to be volume, guys. Even though we did have a good day, our volume is still very low. Today's volume was only 2 million. We really need to get back up to numbers around 10. If you take a look back in November, we were doing volumes about 10 million to 13 million. And I believe this is when we started trading around $15, $16. So volume is something that you guys really need to watch. And I know this sounds pretty obvious, but once you see volume starting to pick up, that's when it's going to tell you that the stock price is going to start going with it. The second thing that I would say to watch, and I think this is what may have caused the spike today, is the short interest rate. So if you take a look at the short interest, it actually doubled today. The interest rate at open was 1.4, guys. We actually hit a high of 3.9 short interest, and we ended up closing at 3.6 short interest. So short investors right now are paying 3.6% annually to short the stock. The craziest thing is the stock is holding its value, so the shorts can keep shorting their position, but the price isn't moving, and that is causing some of this percentage to go up. And remember, for now this is a SPAC, so we do have a bottom. It's about $10, so there's very limited reward for them to short. So in my opinion, I think it's very foolish that they're doing this, but they might have to learn that the hard way. So obviously 3% is not huge at all. It's not like a squeeze candidate, but it can start lighting that fire that we need to get some volume back in here. Because like I said, it looks like a lot of investors are simply holding this, and that shows through the stock price. It's holding $11 pretty well. Meanwhile, the shorts are going to have to continue paying interest, and if we get one really good catalyst, then it's going to be game over for the shorts. We'll just have to wait to see how that plays out. So a good way to help illustrate this, in November 8th, November 10th, the short interest rate went up to about 25%. And if you guys move back to the chart, November 8th and 10, that was right before we had this huge run up. So sometimes when the short percentage rate goes up, it pressures a lot of the shorts to start closing their position, and that causes them to go look for shares. And that creates all this buying pressure. And then once people see volume start kicking in, that makes more people want to invest, and that's what usually causes these squeezes. Not really saying that this was a squeeze, but that's just going back to the point where I said you really need volume for this stock to move, and that is what happened back in November. Since we're looking at the chart, let's go ahead and look at what's going on the overall picture. I haven't really changed much since our last video. I did have this nice support that I mentioned last time, and we had a nice resistance which I told you we needed to get above. If you see, we did try to go up, but these long wick candles are all selling pressure and got us below it, and that's what really caused some of this selling pressure down. We did get outside this channel, and now we came down and retouched the resistance, which to me now looks like it formed a double bottom here. So the main challenge now is to get above and hold 1170. This is our next big resistance wall. And crazy enough, we did close at 1170. So next week is definitely going to be a huge week to help determine the direction of the trend. But the bigger picture here is that we did hold this nice support level here. In my opinion, we will probably come up to about $12.50, and that's because of this double bottom. We'll come up to about that level and then come back down, retouch it, and then eventually we can start working our way back up. I think our next big resistance will be around this heavy consolidation area, and that is around $13.40. And then after that, we will be on our way back to all-time highs, back up to $16, $17. Sorry for the messy drawings. Hopefully that helped illustrate what I think is going on in the chart. Make sure to give me your thoughts in the comments below. So guys, that is all I have for today. Hope you learned something from today's video. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. If I don't upload in the next couple days, I'm wishing you guys a happy new year, and hopefully 2022 treats us very well. Until then, peace.